follows the starry sea, with a batlet held tight with glee. Hunt OPC, his battle cry. Stars and moons light up the sky. OPC hunt, OPC, through the cosmos wild and free. Romulans and foes we fight, community our guiding light. Battling communists with cheer, reduces courage, knows no fear. With every clash and mighty roar, victory's prize forevermore. OPC hunt, OPC, through the cosmos wild and free. Romulans and foes we fight, community our guiding light. Battle anchor ship does soar, reducing its heart and core. Galactic winds, they lead our course, unity our driving force. Our driving force. OPC hunt, OPC, through the cosmos wild and free. Romulans and foes we fight, community our guiding light.
All right, turn the tunes on down. Welcome in, everybody. It's Sunday, end of the weekend, but that's okay because, well, we've got good stuff to do today. We've got to come together as a group, as a community. And what I would ask of y'all, and I know I've done this plenty of times before, hopefully you enjoy this process, but this stream, I really want to focus on away teams. I'm sorry, wrong A team, on Alliance tournaments. And just so that we can talk about this early in this, so those who watch later can do this as well. I really want to focus on feedback gathering. So the tournament will end tomorrow. So depending on how much y'all have done, or maybe you've done a little, maybe you've done a lot. Obviously, a little bit more difficult with it being so close together if you are like me, where you focus completely on free-to-play tasks. So I do want to get y'all's thoughts. Now, I do want to echo the same thing I said last night. If you attended the Twitch, you're going to have heard some of this. However, last night talked about do not expect this 8-day pathway to be normal, right? There's no plan that I've been able to gather from the overlords that they're going to just run this every 8 days. This is just simply how it fell because they, one, wanted to try out some things, and two, we have a 2-week break between the arcs, meaning there's always that extra bit of filler they're going to put in, and they're looking for things to add in. You'll see Crucible of War as a normal, but you'll also then usually see things like the Borg run. So very important to keep in mind that the plan, from what I've been able to gather, is not to just continually run this all the time, thus making it almost impossible for you to save up all of your, free-to-play Zindi task and your Dominion and your Borg and the temporal conduits. So with that in mind, let's get into it. Now, again, a little bit of a schedule update for everybody, for those curious about what is coming. Obviously, tournaments wrapping up tomorrow, right? Then we got War Room April 1st to April 7th. So the entire week upcoming is going to be War Room. Then you're going to have Return of the Mega Cube, which starts tomorrow going to April 3rd. So like I said, 2-week break. You typically have these other events come in. And you have Faction Hunt from the 6th to the 8th. So this week, we're going to have War Room, going to have Incursions, going to have Mega Cube, and then going to have Faction Hunt. So keeping you busy before the arc rolls out the following week. Remember, just a little pro tip for those who are new to the STFC area or maybe aren't very sure or always looking for consistency. One thing that is pretty consistent is there are 5 Tuesdays in the month. If the answer is yes, because you're going to have a 2-week break in that month between the arc launches. So even if we stick with the same arc theme, there will be a 2-week break if there is a 5 Tuesday run. Now we're going to jump into comments. Again, the premise of this video and the goal of this video is to focus on gathering feedback, things that y'all see, like, dislike, etc. And let me know about it. Now, the main things that have changed with Grandmaster, honestly, were just the Alliance Tournament store, which I do think was drastically improved with the additions of 13 primes and a couple, one ship skin, etc. And then also the SMS events. And what I'm really looking for with that one is if you're one of those people who did not do the SMS events, like they don't tempt you at all, not saying this in like a mean way. I don't need that feedback. All right. If you just don't like them, that's fine. I more want to ask the people who did them what they thought about that. Is this something that you as a player would like to see? What I'm really asking is, did this have more value for you than a traditional SLB SMS? So we're going to get through all that, and now we're going to start jumping into what chat is saying because, well, that really matters. All right, start with Pete. Too many tasks focused on big players and too many money tasks. We've also noticed the refresh rate of some of the free 10K tasks rarely show compared to the paid ones. So there is definitely a drop rate, as it were, when it comes to different tasks. That's absolutely true, which is why I really try to focus on, when we talk about this, making sure you're working with your alliance with refreshes, because you're definitely going to see certain things more often than others. Now, I'll also say that as far as the 10K tasks go, I would say that you see about an equal number of generally free-to-play tasks show up, but a lot of those tasks are things that maybe you can only save up once, as in you cannot do it multiple times. Very difficult. So for example, just on the screen right now, the 2 of the 3 10K tasks you see are free-to-play. Galactic Recruit is a free-to-play one. Temporal Disruptor is a free-to-play one. But both of these free-to-play ones are very difficult to do. But they are free-to-play. So it also depends on that. Whereas the paid task, well, it's pretty obvious, right? And actually, if you're a Sigma player, like if you are in G6, this is technically free-to-playable as well. So again, very nuanced in like how you obtain these different things. One thing with Alliance tournaments that I don't think they've ever tried to hide is it's absolutely meant, and everything in this game, everything in almost any MMO is meant to be a money generator. And they definitely have those big tasks. One big complaint I have is what they pay out. So obviously these 10K tasks have the big alliance credits, but the grind tasks have nothing. To me, that is an important change that needs to happen. If you grind something out, that's just as valuable if you had hoarded or if you had spent. And everything needs to pay out a store currency. That's a big one for me. But again, we're going to be grabbing those comments. I definitely get where you're coming from because it's true. And I've never denied this. I've tried to be very loud about it. There's definitely different drop rates for different events. You will see certain things happen more often than others. And that's not only RNG, it's the weight of those items in that table. And clearly not everything has equal weights in the table. Just from observation from several months of doing this, no way that, for example, the Dominion Armada and the Borg Armada, which requires you to get epics for both of them, but it's very easy to do free to play, just claim your chest, does not have the same weight as the 6-star materials, right? It's just, I don't see anything that could be empirical evidence to support that unless Scopa just came out and gave us the table, and I don't see that happen. So now Razor says they want AT super rolls to accept any task. I'm very curious if you would expound on that, Razor. Oh, what I would like when I hear super rolls, what I would actually like is if I had like a super roll, I would like it to refresh everything at once. Super refresh. That's more what I would look for, but super roll. So I'm curious how that would work. Yeah, expand on it for me if you wouldn't mind. I like new ideas because new ideas are, again, part of the premise of today's video. So I can take your feedback, not just like, oh, we don't like this, but what can you do to make it better? I've tried to stress that before. When it comes to working with any game team, it's not just like, hey, we don't like this. You then have to provide, okay, well, what can make it better? What direction would it like to go? Super roll sounds like an interesting thing. Curious. So Dave says, instead of re-rolling 20 times, you trade in 20 re-rolls and just get to pick whatever task you want, or they could sell it. Well, everybody in chat now officially hates Razor because he had to mention the S word. Razor, congratulations. You're now hated by about 200 people. We don't even have everybody here yet. You're already hated. Great job. But I do like that as a general idea, right? Maybe getting to actually pick but there would be a cost associated with it. It's an idea, right? It really is. Like if you, for example, if you're like me, on this account. Now, my level 29 going to 30 does not have the same opportunities because that account basically just has to do stuff like this. And Herodian task and Borg probe task are the main things I end up grinding on that account. I'm not able to just sit there and do the 10Ks unless I have just a lot of Galactic Recruit saved up. Actually, let me look real quick because I have that account pulled up. Do I have enough Galactic Recruits? Which in this case would be this token right here. I actually did this already on this account. If you go to your event store, for those curious, how do you free to play the Galactic Recruit? You have to have 19,800 of the emergency field ration saved up. But if you have that, you can get that free to play. And that completes a 10K task. So I wonder if I have that on my lower level. I don't have it on the screen, obviously, but it is on the other monitor over here. I'll take a look and see, because that's actually a really good question. That'd be a nice 10K task. But the point I was making is, that account really struggles to get the rerolls. But you do get a reroll gift, every day, assuming you're low on the rerolls. And maybe with that, I'm just short of having enough on that other account. I have to wait for another oopsie chest to come through. But the idea is still a solid one. Being able to pick what you want if you spend a certain amount of rerolls. I do like the idea. It's something that we can, I'm going to raise it up with some of the other CCs. We'll have a little chit chat, and then maybe we can come together with a formalized plan and submit it to see if that could be an improvement. I think it's a good idea. And Matt Hatterson's ban Razor. I'm not necessarily going to include Razor's spend option, as in pay to do it. But what I might say is, if you are Scopely, and let's just all be honest, right? We know this how games work. It's not just Scopely, it's MMOs. But to really get them on your side, you have to look for a spend option. Well, there's not a lot of things that you can buy for Alliance tournaments besides if you wanted to buy 6-star materials. But if they were to sell refresh tokens, terms of money, this now gives, if you're able to pick a task with your super roll idea, Dave, it gives an incentive to sell and for a player to buy those to avoid the hassle. So again, not saying that it should cost real money to do. I mean, we get refresh every time we do a task. We will earn, or depending on the task you do, you'll earn more refreshes, plus you get the daily return in. I mean, it's a thought. Again, anything that can actually improve things and make it better for the average player, I'm down for. And if Scopely makes a little bit of money from it, from a very, very small few, fine. So yeah, more ideas like that. What do y'all like about tournaments? What do you dislike about this go around? And what would you change? There's that grind task that is the bane of my existence. Maybe I should do it. Y'all want to watch me grind Q trials while we talk? Up to y'all. All right. James says some understanding of the refresh works would help me. Do you get the same difficulty with different tasks, same task with different difficulty, or completely random? Great question, James. Let me educate you. Now, I've talked about this in previous videos, but as I say all the time, always ask questions because it's unrealistic for me to expect everybody to watch every video. There's just so much that happens in this game. I get it. Y'all have lives, families. Supposedly some of y'all are actually happy. Weird. What? Who's that? Okay, so here's what we're going to do. I have a graphic for it. I'm looking for the graphic, and then we're going to put it on the screen, and we're going to talk about it together. So if you use the spreadsheet that goes and talks about, here, 1 second, where's my display capture? If you use the spreadsheet that we talk about that goes over the event task. Remember I made a video recently because Blues finished his cheese sheet, right? Y'all remember the cheese sheet? Everybody remember the cheese sheet? So the cheese sheet is this right here. This is the, hey, easy, here's all the free-to-play tasks that you can do. In that same spreadsheet, if you go down the bottom right here, the bottom bar, there's one that says the tournament task list. And you click it, this is the raw data where we collect every task, what all is there, what it pays out, what you have to do. You scroll down to the bottom of it, you're going to find this little thing right over here. You go, Rev, what is that? Well, let me tell you what it is. This is how the actual payouts work. So everything is split into 3 groups. So you have group 1, which are your lower paying, lower end grind tasks. As you can see, group 1 is 750 plus 1500 point task, as well as a specific kill task that range up to 5K. Then you have group 2, 2K, 4K, 6K, 8K, and 10K grind task. So that's group 2. And then last but not least, group 3 are the pay tasks. Now, some of those pay tasks can be done free to play, but this is how it works. If you were to re-roll that 10K protomatter down there, you're going to get another task from the group 3 table. If you roll a group 2 task, you're going to get a task from the group 2 table, and the same with group 1. So let's go back to the game real quick so we can show this on the screen. How exactly does it work? So if I was to say, hey, I'm not doing this uncommon, I'm going to re-roll it. That's going to empty out and wait about 30, 45 seconds. Then what's going to happen is when it brings back or when it repopulates, what I'm going to be getting is another 10K pay task that maybe it's a free to play one, maybe it's not. So when you're rolling, and again, this is affecting everybody in your alliance, you're rolling to get a new task from the group. And it is a specific number in there. So you have 12 in group 1, you have 5 in group 2, and then 3 in group 3. And it's always the same number. It doesn't fluctuate. There's not sometimes 5 group 3s. And I know there's been confusion because sometimes you'll see in group 2 a 10K task. That 10K task is going to be like, oh, you need to go kill something, but it doesn't pay out the same as a group 3 task. You'll also notice, if you pay attention to some of these things, or if you're interested in it, the group 3s had the higher payouts, as in, yes, they might pay out more points for your alliance, but they also are going to have the highest payouts for your alliance tournament store and the refreshes. So group 1, group 2, group 3, they're separated 12, 5, 3. And when you re-roll inside one of the groups, you're going to get something from that group's table. So you're never going to have a X-Board credits 10K task appear in group 1. It'll never be the first one on your list. It'll always be down there at the end. I hope that answered the question. If it did not, and I just went on a random tangent, I apologize because I had to take the chat off the screen to put that up there. So hopefully that was what you were asking. But anyway, there you go. If nothing else, it's good information for everybody to know. Wait, so is Giorgio's Apex Shred useful against any PvE enemies outside of solo waves? She is only good, as in she's only needed currently against actual hostiles that have Apex. Not many. So right now, for the most part, she's only for waves. Now, that doesn't mean in the future she'll only be for waves. And there are a couple things that have Apex barrier, but generally speaking, she is just for waves. Don't be surprised if new hostiles, new loops that get released have Apex, and she's going to be useful there, but not too much. Now, as an example, there are mirror hostiles that have Apex. Now, I don't feel like she's needed there. If you want to defeat, for example, and I see Meme already mentioned it, an ISS Enterprise in mirror, then you just take your NSEA, have literally one tier of the research done, and easy peasy. But like if you just, for whatever reason, didn't have an NSEA, but still wanted to farm those, and you happen to have Section 31 Giorgio, which again, like we're talking like to a really slim number of people, then yeah, that's an example of something that you could do it against. But currently, for example, freebooters, silence, etc., those aren't going to benefit from having Section 31 Giorgio because there is no Apex to shred through. It just doesn't exist on those hostiles, those older mechanics. So in the future, do I expect her to get more useful as time goes on? I do. I'd be very shocked if you don't see Scopely continue to make some of the hostiles harder, which is what they've done historically. When Silence first came out, they were a great measuring stick of difficulty for the average player. Can't really say that anymore because of all the things that continually get added. We call it power creep, right? Between the buildings, researches, the favors, the artifacts, etc., don't have a need for all those things anymore. It's a lot easier to compete. So long-winded ways to answer questions I'm very good at. Hopefully that gave you what you're looking for. Gavin says, good to see you, by the way. If y'all, again, we are really focusing on AT, so hit me up with all your AT thoughts and comments. If I don't answer it the first time, hit me up. Run it back. Repost it. Always good for it. Gavin says, while I would love to see a refresh of the Alliance tournament, it really needs an entire revamp to make it fun. Love to see a March Madness bracket with head-to-head AOB style events. I do not agree with you at all that it needs a complete revamp. I strongly disagree with that because a complete revamp means going down to the very beginning and revamping. I strongly disagree with that, but I do like your idea of a subsection of, hey, a tournament style run where you compete against alliances, you work your way up, and then you do a March Madness style bracket. That's an interesting idea. But I do not at all agree that Alliance tournament needs to be torn apart, going down to the very beginning, and then start over. Because that's what that means. Now, I do like the idea of additional things that have relevance and encourage people to participate. And you, not you, James, but the general you in the English language, may not have the pride with your alliance to care about that. But I promise you there are a lot who do. There are a lot of players who will only do things for ALBs because they want their alliance to be number one. Right? It's very common, actually, especially among higher alliances. And I think that could have, some good potential. Put it that way. It's a good idea. I don't agree with the whole revamp part. That's strong disagree because I think Alliance tournaments gets far more things right than it gets wrong. Far more things right. So again, that's my opinion. Everybody here is more than welcome to disagree, because if people stop disagreeing with Rev, I know that I've created an echo chamber, and that's bad. I don't want an echo chamber. So feel free to continue to voice your thoughts. There might be things I disagree with. There might be things I agree with, but either way, definitely want to hear it. All right, more of them. Hit me with it. Dinwit says tasks need to have point values removed. Instead, going you to an SMS event for the tasks you can leave and how many milestones you hit is how much you score. I'll be honest, Dinwit, don't agree with that. Mainly because we're always trying to find ways to make the game less laggy and less problematic. That makes the game far more problematic. I don't honestly feel like there's an issue with how things are now. Most of the tasks that exist have a stepping stone. I just really argue the rewards are what needs to change. So for example, the grind task can be 750s all the way up to 10Ks. There's grind tasks for a lot of things. My argument on the grind task is that the rewards are poop, right? The rewards are poop. I just think the rewards are gonna be better. I don't think you need to like, oh, you accepted something and now it spawns an SMS. I think that's overcomplicating things. I just think rewards need to be better. Simple. And adding in extra elements in this game that is notoriously bad about remaining stable. I'm not trying to be mean here. It's true. It is notoriously bad about remaining stable. I don't want to try to do that. So the one says it's hard enough getting 5K grind task and 12 rerolls. Adding 10K is going to make rerolling even worse. Well, again, you just missed the point that I just made. These are all in groups. So you're re-rolling into a group. You're not making it more difficult by having a 10K grind and a 750 grind. Those are in different role groups. So that's fine. Just roll in the group that you need. Roll in the group that you need. So I'd like to be able to accept more tasks concurrently. That could be useful if you could hold all 3 of your daily tasks at once. Something to bring up. I'm curious how that would work in terms of, do they have the ability to do that again without causing issues? So that's a good point to raise up as well. If you see tasks that you need, pick them up. Pick them up. All right. Currently doing a 10K task to kill 4 Bork Epic Solo Armadas. That's a good one, Steven. And an easy one. At least easy for me. That's an easy one. All right. I'd like to see an increase in the number of rerolls, even with the reroll from tasks, getting some of the free-to-play tasks, eats them all up, and then some. The brain dig, again, some of that is intentional, right? There are intentional pain points. It's why I encourage people to work with their alliance to make things happen, right? If you are going into alliance tournaments basically as a solo player where you're just re-rolling for what you need, you're not telling your alliance, hey, I need this task, look out for me, ping me, etc. It's going to be a struggle. It's difficult because there are some things I know that we can argue for, like the re-roll idea that Razor have. I think that's a good solid premise to build into and maybe get a feature made. But the argument of just, hey, I need this to happen more than this is very difficult to happen. Why? Because the game has to make money. And that's just simply how the game is going to design itself, right? So if you make it as easy to do something for free versus paying for it, everyone is going to choose free, even the spenders, right? Now, not trying to shield, I'm just being pragmatic, right? If you made everything literally the same level of ease, what is everybody going to choose? The free option. So there's never going to be the same level of, okay, this shows up as often as this. They're just not going to design it like that. Because again, everything in this game has to make money to justify its existence. At the same time, we can find ways to make it easier for us. For example, finding ways to get payouts for every task. Again, that's why I harp on things like the 3,000 Bork probe, which pays out nothing in terms of Alliance store currency, but it helps out your Alliance. 3,000 points is helpful. Like if I've got a level 30, please go do that 3K task. I just want them to actually get 500 of in-store currency for it. So it's things like that. It's trying to maintain that balance. Then Harrison says no limit in tasks done, limit in store currency earned per day. That to me would also be a bad idea. Here's why: because you do have those players, especially spenders, who are willing to sit there and go, and then instead of limiting them to scoring 30,000 a day, they're willing to score 300,000 in a day, which then means that anybody who's working hard cannot keep up with that. One thing that is nice to me about Alliance tournaments is everybody's on the same playing field. you can, as a free-to-play player, and we've already seen people in our chat today talk about it, who at this point have done 15 tasks out of 15, all of them 10K, they were all free-to-play, right? That means that that free-to-play player earned the same amount as the person who did it the ka-ching way and just swiped his credit card and did 15 tasks. They're literally equal. If you remove that limit, it's no longer equal. It's no longer an even playing field. And one of the things that we argue for is an even playing field between free-to-play and pay-to-win. Right? So, again, some of those ideas can sound okay until you think about the long-term ramifications. And you got to understand that, and I've said this before, and again, this is not targeting you. I think, Harrison, shoot out ideas, but we need to talk about them. People don't realize the number of spenders in this game. It's always under-exaggerated. Like, people think that there's like this uber 0.1% of people super spending. No, you have a massive chunk in this game who are spenders. It's not like 1% of the game are spending. It's far more than 1% of the game are spending. Now, there's only maybe 1% who are spending, you know, $50,000 a year. There's a lot of those, but I want to try to maintain evenness, and the daily attempts does that. So it means that maximum, whether you're a spender or a grinder, the most you can contribute a day is 30,000, meaning an alliance of people who are active. Let's say 2 alliances of 80. The one who is more active is going to be the one that does better. If you have an alliance of 80 and 70 of you are active, you are much better than an alliance that has 20 super spenders. And I like that about AT. So, yeah. But still, worth discussing. Good ideas. And if people disagree with that, that's fine. Build a case for it. My case for why 3 attempts for everybody a day is good is because it puts everybody on the exact same playing field. Exact same playing field. So, all right. Only 7 of my 35 have scored, and I ran out of time trying to grind out those 400 Q hostiles. Only got 365 by the deadline. Wow. That's a lot of Q hostiles. That is a lot. I did not pick up that freebooter one, but I'm sure it will populate again. Randy says they like the idea of concurrent tasks. Now that, I actually, yeah, again, if you're going to have 3, and then you see 3 that you can pick up, I don't see a reason why you can't have all 3 going at the same time. That one I'm down with. I really worry that if we open it up and say, oh, unlimited number, but limit the amount of currency you can earn in the store, you're still going to have people who score 300, 500,000 points by themselves because they can. Because again, it goes back to my team, my alliance. I want them to be the best. And then only Scopely wins. And I like situations where I win and you win. That's my goal. I win, you win. We can even argue, hey, maybe the daily task should be up to 5, which would be good for you as a free-to-play or as a light spender because it gives you more opportunity to earn more of this currency, right? And this is arguably the best store in the entire game. So we can even talk about increasing the task, but to me, the task should always be equal. Whether you're a spender or a free-to-play, equal opportunity. That's how I see it. So, concurrent tasks, though, would ideally need to be put back into the pool immediately rather than being held out until completion. That is another annoying aspect of this, and to see that, there's no way in game. But if you go to stfc.pro, you can see in tournaments who has what task in your group and tell them, hey, go do the freaking task. All right, I'm going to use server 20 as an example. I'm going to put up on the screen real quick. Hold on. Uno momento, por favor. See. So, through the power of STFC statistics, we can track who's doing what. Like right now, Rev does not have a task, but I know Razor has that rare Dominion task. Go do the daggone task, right? We know, okay, well, Red Dog picked up a spin task. Okay, go for it, big dog. Oh, that's the defeat one. That's not the one I thought it was. Anyway, Epic FKR. That we can see what these tasks are. Again, if somebody's holding a task you need, get them to get off their butts and use it, right? Complete it so that it can go somewhere else. It's stfc.pro, Razor. Same one that we've said forever. I just don't say stfc.wtf anymore because you can't put the WTF into the game. So, because you can't put the WTF in the game, I've just been using the PRO one, but it goes to the same thing. You can see who's doing what, who's working on what, who's active, who's doing the most tasks. Not Rev. Don't judge me. Don't judge me. Don't judge me. Why not have some form of averaging the scores and alliances of the players who actually take part? That way it encourages even the lower players to try and do the lower point task. That already exists. I don't understand the question, Joanne. That literally already exists. That is quite literally the premise behind the leagues, because the leagues give you points. Like, this is credits for your store. So you are incentivized as a lower level player. If you cannot individually get a 10K task done, you still want to score for your alliance, because the higher you score, the more you earn, the better league you end up in, which means the more stuff you get. So even though I hate that these tasks have no payouts, it's still important for a level 30, that's my case, to grind these out so that my alliance can go up to apprentice league, expert league, masters league. Everybody helps out. That's the whole premise. And if you don't help out, you get relegated, meaning you get worse rewards and worse payouts. So, again, that exists, but naturally, I think people just really focus on this section, and I understand why, right? I get that, I understand it, but yes, you want this task so that you can get the 4,400. But if you're not able to do those free-to-play 10K tasks in your lower level, as a leader in an alliance, you absolutely want to encourage them to work, because everybody contributing matters. Again, we're talking about alliances with 100 members. If you have 100 members, you need them participating, because if the other alliance with 100 members is participating more, so here's a good example. T-Rex, Triple Explorers, right? They're a lower level alliance than us. They have less members. They are 5 spots higher. They're going to get, that's 10-4, and we're currently at, they're going to get 1,000 more store credits. Everybody. Like, they're lowest level players. We're going to get more currency than our players. So those alliances with 30 players are never going to go up in leagues, only those with 80, 90. Of course, Joanne, but I don't see that as a bad thing. You should not be rewarded for being in a smaller level alliance. There should be drawbacks to that, and then that alliance has to work out ways, either one, accept that they're not going to do as well, or two, maybe they merge with another alliance. Maybe they go on a recruitment spree. All alliances should not be treated equally. And I don't mean that in a harsh way. I'm not saying those alliances are bad, but there are drawbacks. Right? It's why I tell everybody to be in a top 5 alliance. But the truth is, not everybody can be in a top 5 alliance. There has to be other alliances. I do not think that a 30-person alliance should have the same opportunity that a 90-person alliance does. Just like in the game, in terms of like active events, they don't have the same opportunities for formation armadas, regular armadas. They don't have the same opportunities in waves, right? There are difficulties to being in a smaller alliance. That doesn't make them bad alliances. It just means that they're going to have more difficulties, and then they have to decide as a group, what do we do to face this? Do we recruit more? Do we merge? Or do we understand that maybe we get stuck in apprentice league and we just can't get out because we can't score enough to get elevated in the leagues? So, but I get what you're saying. AT says, I would like rank protection. After you hit a higher league, you can't be relegated next tournament. It prevents alliance flip-flop between leagues. It feels weird. AT 100% disagree with that one. Then what's the point of the leagues? There's no point in the leagues if there's no incentive to grind and keep going. I don't agree with that either. There should be a ranking system, and you should be punished if you fail. That's FX, which is on server 32, if I remember correctly. One of the servers I've played on. If they're the top, they should be rewarded for the top. And if you are struggling, like Grim, you should be relegated. And then you have to work your way back up. I don't see a problem with that system. It's like what CEO's saying. Again, not trying to be mean, but people want rewards without penalties. Everything should have a balance. That's not fair to say, well, because by that logic, everybody's eventually going to be Masters League. Then what's the whole point of Adept, Apprentice, Expert, etc.? A lot of games that have a gray system for the first time you lose. I don't know many games who have a gray system for something like this. I can't name a single one. So I'm not going to say you're wrong, but I can't name a single one that has a gray system for something like this. Also, what happened to Grim? Did they split? 4,500 points? What happened here? Did this alliance collapse? I'm not trying to be mean. I'm genuinely curious. What happened here? Anybody know Grim and where they're from? What the heck happened to Grim? Anyway, getting relegated. Relegated. Street Fighter, Valorant, Marvel Rivals. None of those games are this. AT, none of those games are 4X games. None of those games are strategy games. That you can't compare that. That's like me saying, oh, NBA 2K has this feature. That has nothing to do with Star Trek Fleet Command. Again, not trying to be mean to you, but that's a quite literally an apples oranges comparison. Show me an MMO, a team-based MMO that does that. I don't think it exists. That Street Fighter, those are not these type of games. That's not even the same world. I mean, that's in the gaming sphere, but it's like comparing a Bugatti to a Honda Civic. They're not in the same brand of car, not even the same realm of car. Very different. For the players that don't do any tasks, don't get any rewards. Well, again, my hope is educating players. Number one, I do want tasks to pay out better. Be very clear. I'm not trying to argue that everything's, oh, do I have that one? I think I do. Or do I have the Dominion one? I picked it up out of bad habit. I should have looked first. Dang. Now I just wasted that pickup. Dag nabbit. Well, that's a bummer. I'll be able to do this one. That's a bummer. Picked it up out of habit. I have to buy them? Nope. Now I just can't complete the task. Absolutely. Yeah. So, rather have a Civic? I'd rather have a Honda Civic because I can't even afford the tires on a Bugatti. You know, if you had to get your tires changed, it's like $20,000 on a top-end car. Nope. Not spending what I make in a year. More than $20K a year, but still, you know what I'm saying. Crazy. So, is there a good overall place to see what the up-to-date crews are? Lots of places seem out of date. Here. That's because the game is constantly changing, quite literally every month. There is no place that just has a, hey, do this. Now, older crews that are recommended still work. Like, I mean, if you go look up our solo wave videos or go look up the videos that we did for, let's use an older thing now, Silent Hostiles, those are all still relevant, but there's probably newer things that do just fine or maybe better. For example, a common thing now is a lot of people are playing around with Pipe Moreau Anorax, right? That wasn't available previously, obviously, but people are doing it now. So finding that balance. Anyway, let's see. We'll grab more of these comments because lots of good comments. So, gosh, there's so many of y'all. Razor Meme having a conversation. Yeah, so Meme and Razor were talking about what I was just showing. The reason you look at what task is available is because some task you can have multiples up. Some task, nope. So there is a because DJ, I'm pretty sure, did not get to see the table, but he got answers of what's in the table. Annoying. I wish they would give us the table. And if he does have the table, I'm going to go beat down his door and get it. But yeah, so the reason I was showing y'all STFC.pro to see who's got what task is not every task can have unlimited players having it. Which is why, even though I accidentally picked up that task, I was like, well, I got to dump it. I don't want to be the one just sitting on it. Obviously, I can't complete it. So, yeah. Again, don't agree with that. That's like the stuff that happens in the background that we as players should be like, well, that's stupid, right? And it shouldn't be that way. And I agree with you. Like, those are the type of things that when you learn it, try to fight and change it. So, James says there should be benefits to being at the top, but adding some of the Masters League shop options to lower leagues at a higher cost or lower limit would be nice. See, that I think is a very solid suggestion, James. Not that we haven't had solid suggestions, but again, you have to find things that are, mutually beneficial to Scopely and, players. What incentivizes, us to get to Masters League? Great rewards. But at the same time, who doesn't need the Kashar artifact here? Right? Like, I love that the Ferengi Whip is in the Grandmaster. I do. I think that's fantastic. I think that is amazing. But how many people here are an expert? So just a good open question to the chat. How many of y'all are in expert league right now? Right? Again, not meaning that like in a negative way, not calling y'all out or anything. If you're in a lower league, you're not a worse player. That's not what I'm saying. But just out of genuine curiosity, how many of y'all are in expert league and above? See, I've already got a sad face. Right? So Eddie's not. Expert. So it seems most of y'all here are in expert or above. James is not. Right? I was really wanting to get an idea of how many people who are here in the stream who aren't going to get the benefit of the Ferengi Whip, but apparently almost everybody here is, which just kind of goes to prove what I like to say a lot. People who attend content creators are always going to be the best players in the game, not because content creators are just like this magical thing, but because we tend to give out great information, and then you use that information for your alliance to succeed. So this is also why I tell y'all all the time that some of the advice I give, you're like, Rev, that doesn't make any sense, because my videos, okay, stop, restart. Live streams are going to be some of the best players in the game, because you are so devoted to Star Trek Fleet Command. You have skipped church, and on Sunday, you're right here. No Sunday family dinner. You're right here asking and talking about a mobile video game, you absolute losers. And I'm a loser with you. I love it. I'm absolutely really happy to do it. Actually, my phone's not here, so I could show my phone as a physical device. But you're on your phone for a mobile game. It's Sunday in the middle of the day. It's nice outside. Go touch some grass, but you don't want to touch grass. You want to talk about Star Trek, and I love that. So remember that a lot of the advice I do on a static video is meant for the average player. Very clearly, 300 people here, almost everybody saying they're an expert in Masters League. Y'all are very clearly not the average player, right? Grass, what's that? I think it's something you smoke. But joke's on you, 7 p.m. here in the EU. Hey, 7 p.m. is Sunday night church time. See, you Europeans need saving, because y'all don't know that on Sunday you go to church twice, okay? Sunday you go to church twice. You go to church in the morning, you go to church in the evening. You need extra church. The morning church, you got to repent for all the badness you did in the week. And then the evening church, you have to get ready, prepare your heart for all the badness you're going to do during the week. Come on. Everybody knows this. Everybody knows this. Everybody knows this. All right. A little levity is good. So yeah, agree with Scott. Don't skip church. But the point I'm making is, y'all are a lot here. I expected to be less expert in Masters League, but I do agree with the idea and the original premise that was being made, which is that as a group, it would be nice to have, say, the Kishara available to Apprentice League, but maybe they could only pull it one time. Meaning it takes them a lot to be able to unlock it and then use it. I think that's a nice compromise. And it's something worth bringing up. So I think that's worth bringing up. I don't necessarily think that they're going to buy in on it. I'm not saying they're not going to, but it's worth mentioning to see what their reaction is. End of the day, we all want a better game, right? And if you're here, comments, questions, come on, keep talking about it. Even if you disagree with things I'm saying, do it. How do you get the Kishara artifact? Right there. Roger, you have to be in Masters League, and you get it in the Alliance Tournament store. Masters League. If you're not in Masters League, you don't even see it this week, because when they did the change, because what they did is typically the Grandmaster or the Kishara artifact typically has a cooldown where you can only pull 5. For this Grandmaster event, it has no cooldown. You could max it out if you wanted to, if you had the currency. So any of the Grandmaster stuff, unless you're in the league, you can't see it. So, and I completely agree with Joanne. Remove things we already have. For example, Rev already has this. Rev already has that maxed out, pretty sure. Rev already, honestly, most of these primes, I already got that maxed out. Got that maxed out. I've got that maxed out. Pretty sure I got that maxed out. I've already got this. I've already got that. I've already got this. I've already got this. No, I've already got this and this. I need this. What else does Rev already have? Already got this. Already got this. It'd be nice if those just got off my screen so that I don't accidentally pull them. Right? I don't need to accidentally pull a prime I've already gotten. So, yeah. 100% agree. Could be unhighlighted so you can't pull them. Something, David. And again, this is another thing to bring up. Here, I'm going to put in the store in my notes, because I want to make sure I bring it up again during my meeting with the overlords. Again, the whole premise of this stream is to get y'all's thoughts, y'all's opinions, so we can get things changed. Storm. Now, see, a good question from, I don't know what your name is, because there's no name. It's just a question. When do you get binary cutter? So the binary cutter is something you unlock in your Emerald Chain, and it is, where is it? Right here. This Emerald Chain 18, I think. where the binary cutter refit is added to the Alliance Tournament store. You have to have gotten progressed to Emerald Chain. Again, this is the whole point of wanting to be in a better league. The better you perform, the more you get in Emerald Chain, thus the more things you unlock. Wait, is it 18? Yeah, 18. So the next thing we'll unlock in the store is we'll get Emerald Chain Avatar 2. Woo. But Assimilated Stella is at 24, right? You get another Officer Preset at 25. So things get added. Astrometric Sensor is at 29. If things get added in. The Bonavine Mark II refit is at 30. You do want to get as much Emerald Chain as you can. The rewards that come from that, which adds things about every 2 Emerald Chain levels to the store. So, yeah, the Assimilated Stella skin being like way down the line makes no sense, because who's going to get to Emerald Chain 30 first? Spending alliances. Do those people need that? Nope. So, logic eludes Scopely at times. But, here we are. Yeah. Makes sense to remove one-off like skins, FTs. Yeah, it does. If nothing else, it should be grayed out. Like, it should register, hey, Rev has the Transwarp Drive refit. He cannot collect it. Even if it stayed there, it registers how many I have and knows don't touch it. So, yeah. All right, more thoughts, comments, appreciate it. Razor says, I took your advice and spent my Prime Valor emblems on +1 Armada chest. Did not affect Zindy, and I wasted a task attempt on firing 50k TDs. Well, it specifically says G4 and G5 chest. It doesn't say Zindy. But did you get better turn-ins from your rewards? Like, was that good? It was totally worth it. Okay, I was just making sure that you didn't regret the advice, because I would have felt really bad there. Okay, it was totally worth it for your G4, G5 chest, but it did not improve your Zindy, which I didn't think it would. It'll be very clear. I didn't say it would. But it does make these chests nicer. And it doesn't, okay, it doesn't make the chest nicer. It makes your pulls better, because you're going to get more. I like that. I think that's very helpful for anybody, especially the earlier you are. If you are listening right now and you're like level 40, 42, 44, even more reason for me to push you using those Prime Valors on the G5 and G4 Armada chest, because you're going to get more value from it. If you're level 65, well, yeah, that doesn't mean anything to you. But G4 and G5 improvements. Very nice. All right, more thoughts. Uki says, love the Disco Prime ad. Thank you so much. Got first level as an OS 53 now. My Disco saw 250 Warp, I think. What was it before? I do not know. That would be a question for STFC.space. Keeping up with all the websites we need is important itself. You can actually go to STFC.space. You can pull in your Disco. Then you got a max Disco without any research. That is... Oh, crap. I forgot. You got to do the research. Because it's standard warp is only 30. I forgot all that is tied behind research. Never mind. I was going to look on STFC.space, but that's not helpful. Nigel, good to see you. Welcome in. I need 15 more BPs. Be ready to build my Tribune. Would you advise I do that before the next arc starts or wait another month? I'd do it now. And keep in mind, you have a week, right? So the arc is not going to launch this upcoming Tuesday, which is the 4th. The arc is going to launch on the 11th, right? No. Right. March. All right, cool. I was looking at March still. So April, it's not going to launch on the 1st. April 1st is Tuesday. It's going to launch on the 8th. You've got an entire week. You've got an entire weekend. So options are there. Personally, if you're that close to the Tribune, I'd get the Tribune. Now, it makes sense to try to, plan that when you're going to have a spin event. Just because if you're going to spin the mats anyway. If you are a player who does PvP arenas, I mean, you've got to... Didn't mean to click that and do that, but sure, I need that. If you're into PvP arenas, you have some shards right now. I'm not saying you should build the Tribune just for the Alliance Tournament Grandmaster, but it would give you more points in Alliance tournaments. However, it's only going to give you 20 shards of Mirror Picard. So again, find the value for you. If that's worth it, cool. I don't think this is very worth it necessarily, but you also get the Stratagem Move token. And then that brings you back into here. Is the play to draw. And that's going to give you Alliance Tournament credits and Alliance Tournament points. So, just a thought. Not telling you to do it, just what is valuable to you. If the Alliance Tournament rewards are not, well then go do something that is. Appreciate more skins like the Enterprise D skin for the Enterprise 8 in the AT store. Make it so, Scopely. I'm down for that. All right. We need to balance the alliances. My team has 17 members, and we're up against teams with 35 plus. I don't understand what you mean by balance, James. What do you mean by balance? Let me out. Is Terror skin worth it? Worth is a very relative statement. I mean, I would say there's a lot more valuable things in the interim or available over that. I'm not saying it has no value, but again, the Franklin, generally speaking, is pretty dead content at this point, right? It's not anything that people are actively doing. Terror, I don't think I actually have the Terror skin. Hold on one second. It is right here. So, increases damage against Swarm. Now, I like it because it looks great. But again, this is pretty dead content. The only people that this would really help, again, I'm just trying to be honest. I'm not trying to cut anybody off, is on new servers where people are still doing their loop. Sure. Like if you've not maxed out your Franklin and you want to have that Franklin for when they do add it to the IA. Remember, part of the IA building is having it max is when you get the biggest benefits. And yeah, that can help out. But there's so many things that are more important, in my opinion. And besides it looking great, I'm not saying don't get it. I'm just saying it's not high priority. That's what I'm saying. If you use this Trevor skin. Got 3,280 bells from the whip. Congratulations to Lurch. Even if all my team gets 10Ks every day, we have no chance against a team with twice as many members. Yeah, James, I don't see that as a problem. Again, we actually just talked about this. If you have an alliance with less members, you should not get a handicap. It should be up to you as your alliance to grow or understand that being a smaller alliance has drawbacks. You should not get a benefit for having less members. There are going to be things that make it more difficult. That doesn't mean that you're a worse alliance. Doesn't mean you're bad people. But there's absolutely no logical reason that I can come to that you as a player should get a handicap because your alliance has less members. Go out and recruit. Merge with somebody. That's just one of the drawbacks. Now, if y'all are just a really close-knit group and y'all don't want anybody in your group, that's completely fine too. But you should not, as a 35-person alliance, get a benefit because you have less members. Right? Everybody is fighting in the same leagues, going for the same scores. I don't think it's fair to everybody else. Are there not enough teams to match them? It's not about matching, right? Again, your point doesn't make any sense to me, right? Everybody's fighting for the same leagues, right? Why would it be fair to have a Masters League group of people who were 30-member alliances? That you quite literally are asking for a freebie. You're saying that my 30-member alliance needs to go up against only 30-member alliances and they should have their own version of Masters League. That doesn't make any sense. As an alliance, you have to work on activity and growth. I mean, like any other MMO like that. Or you playing Second Galaxy or Eve or whatever. There are benefits to having more and active members. This is one of them. You shouldn't have like, oh, well, everybody who has 35 members has their own league. No. Y'all just have to grow or understand that there is drawbacks. I don't see how that's fair to everybody else. Because that means that you have to do less work to get more rewards. Because if you've only got 30 people, that's less people that have to score, where I have to go against people with 100 members scoring 6 million points so that I can then try to get the top rewards. That's not fair to everybody else. So, our 75-member alliance is currently beating several 100-member alliances with about 80% participation. Participation is key. Participation is key. And I can say 30 members, if all 30 members did 15 10K tasks, let's bring out our calculator to make it real quick. So 10, let's see, 30 times 15, and multiply that by, that's 4.5 million points. So let's say James's group, every single one of them saved up, did Die Hard. 4.5 million points would put them in 6th place in Masters League. If they were just, we're going to save up, we're going to hit all of our free-to-play tasks, we're going to make sure that we're all getting 10Ks, big scores. 30 people could score 4.5 million points. They would just have to be a very, very dedicated, working hard alliance to make that happen. Not saying it's necessarily realistic. I'm just saying that I think the idea that a smaller alliance should have their own bracket, I don't think that's fair to everybody else. So, understand your point. I don't agree. I mean, that's fine, James. You're asking for special treatment, and I just don't think that's fair to everybody else. When other alliances have to work hard and score their points, it's not fair to get, the same reward system and the same payouts for essentially less work. So it comes to an alliance to grow. We are Masters League, and 20 players are still yet to score. Nice, John. Get on to those 20 players. Smack them on the behind a little bit. So, 35-player alliance full of G6 is going to crush a lot of others. They can, especially since G6 players have more free-to-play events now, because they can free-to-play the G6 materials events pretty easy between the Revenant, between choice tokens, right? So those all have become, when these initially rolled out, were pay tasks. Not pay tasks. These are free-to-play. It's not free-to-play to me. Free-to-play to most of you. So those are free-to-play tasks now for high levels, making it much easier for them. And the higher level you go, the easier these tasks become. X board credits is a free-to-play for anybody G4, G5, but the G3s are just staring at that going, well, I can't do anything with it, right? So temporal disruptors, same thing. If you're studious with your formation armadas, this is a very easy to complete 10K task. If you and your group do not do formation armadas, this is an impossible task. So, and cheese the G6 with converter tokens as well. Yeah, that's also a thing, Jim. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. It's any way that you acquire G6. How do I acquire uncommon Dominion solo armada directives? Money. To acquire the amount that you need for that task, Ruchar, is money. That is a pay-only task. If you're in a 75-member alliance and we're stuck in expert for multiple turns now, we're maybe getting around 40% participation. We're trying very hard to get people to participate to go master one day. I love that. And Clovis, that's definitely, a grind. I mean, that's what I have to work on with my alliance on server 710. And, it's been tough for us because we were in 2 wars at the same time while this was going on. So, there's been distractions there. And we're not going to get relegated. We're actually getting promoted this time. Again, assuming things stay how they are, we're going to get promoted. And we managed to get that during a war, which I'm very proud of. I'm very, very proud of my group on 710. During a war, we're getting promoted. So it's just something that you have to work out with your group. And even mine, I still am trying to get half my people to do tasks. So it's not easy. And it's why I say it all the time. People who are out there, if you're in leadership for your alliance, I got so much respect for you because I hate it. I'm just going to be real. I hate it. I'm not trying to speak negatively or say that, alliance leadership is bad, nor am I trying to speak negatively of my alliance. Like, I think my alliance is great. A lot of great people. My goodness, is it so much work. It is so much work. It'll be rewarding if you enjoy it. I love the community aspect of it. Man, anyway, shout out to my alliance with 710. Love y'all. Good job. Good job. You're in leadership. It's hard, but I like it. And that's what's important, Clovis. That's what's important. Your alliance is an expert with around 30% participation. Solid. Solid. So let's go see what the highest participation on 710 is. Keep in mind, 710 is a newer server. It is still capped at 50. Let's see. Even the number 1 alliance is at about 60% participation. So the number 1 alliance is at 60%. It shows how much that, the rank really works into that. So pretty dope. Pretty heckin' dope. Yeah. All right, let's see. How about on 20? Are you asking how IA is? So on server 20, wow. That's impressive, IA. 99 out of 103 potential players have participated in alliance tournaments for Iron Armada. That's impressive. That is impressive. Let's see. The number 1 scoring team in the world right now is JAG, and they've scored 9 million points. The number one activity team in the world is Spectre. Here in the US, 104 out of 104 members have participated. 104 out of 104. Then, shout out to our EU group, the most active and best scoring group in the European Union is IRS, Death and Taxes. 102 out of 102. That's impressive. That's impressive. So, you know, honestly, it might make a good interview video if I bring in some leadership from these alliances and talk. What do they do to get these people that active? That honestly sounds like a great video. Dave says this because IA just absorbed 15 players from Chaos. Even if they did, even if that's your argument, they still would have over 80% participation. That is insanely good. It doesn't matter if they absorb people from Chaos. That's an insanely good thing. All right, let's see. Interview. Yeah, I think that's a great idea because 100% 100% participation with over 100 members is insane to me. That is nuts. Now, Jacob, 98 out of 104 is also very good. Wait, Jacob, are you in Jag? Because that's what Jag's at. That's still insane. But 100% participation is nuts. That deserves an interview. I didn't honestly know that there was anybody doing 100% in the top. I figured it was like 90%. That is awesome. I'm going to hit those up. I'm going to hit those up. Wow. Craziness. Like huge, crazy, awesome. All right. Do you know the payout for Emerald? What exactly is the question? Are you asking how much Emerald gets paid out Masters League and stuff? It only shows the tournament credits. Is that what you're asking? Little info button. There you go. Again, depends on what league you're in. There's Adept, Novice. Where's Masters? Masters League. Rank 1. 100,000 Emerald Chain. So you got to hit the little I button at the very top right. That's a proper line. Yeah, I cannot overstate how it... And keep in mind that I'm impressed with an alliance that has 90 out of 104, like Omicron's. Like, that's impressive. But to have 104 and 102 people where everybody in your alliance is on the same page, that is incredibly impressive to me. I just, maybe I'm easily amused or whatever, but Spectre, Death and Taxes, there's actually 2 alliances called Spectre. There's another one that is the 6th most active, and they're 101 out of 105. The Picard Maneuver Group is 102 out of 104. Who is 101 out of 102? That's the name of the alliance. Who? Like, that's awesome numbers. Those are good. That is incredibly impressive. I think this will make a great interview. And I have not done a sit-down interview like that in several months. So, and it's not just one of them. There's a lot of these. So I'm going to coordinate that. I'm going to try to get, I found another one. We found a third. Now, they're not as high ranking, but Cerberus. Anybody know Cerb? 103 out of 103. Oh, I gotta write this down because I do want to try to reach out to these groups. That is insanely good. Over 100 people, and they're all active. Viva la Revolution, 102 out of 104. Again, all this information that I'm giving y'all, you too can check it out on stfc.pro. All of you can check it out. Darren, are you in leadership in Serb, or are you just existing? No offense if you're just existing, but are you in leadership? So again, all this you can find on stfc.pro. This is why we have STFC statistics for this type of information, so we can learn together. What are they doing? Because I'll be honest, I don't have the answer. I cannot tell you how your alliance becomes Spectre. We got to talk to Spectre. So Darren, do me a huge solid. Reach out to your Commodores and leadership and let them know I'm wanting to interview people about this. See if one of your Commodores or your leader is interested. Please and thank you. And message me on Discord if you do not mind, Darren. I'd greatly appreciate it. I think this is the type of thing that people want to know. And I don't have that answer. So if I don't have the answer, I got to help you find it. But how do you become this? I want to know too. This is fantastic. Fantastic. Shout out to him. Alliance is number 10. So you're in Ronin? Oh yeah, okay, I see you now. Nice. Very nice. It's incredibly impressive. Rev giving out homework and streams. Hey, look, I've told y'all before, if I don't know something, I'll go find it out. I do not know. And how can I tell you? Because no alliance I've run has ever had. No alliance I've ever had that I personally ran had 80% or better. Never once. I'm being honest. I have never run an alliance where 80% or more of the people were active in tournaments. I just haven't. That means that there's something that other people are doing better than me. So I can learn. And I want to learn. I think this is a great project. I think this will make everybody better. I really do. All right. Our alliance keeps track of people who don't participate and even warn to kick them if they don't do events. I'm sure this could be a big part of it, but we're going to talk. Beowulf, good to see you. We were just talking about IA. How you doing, Beowulf? Good to see you. They give them prizes. We'll see, Tony Stark. Again, we'll talk to these people. We'll set up an interview. I think this is good stuff. I think this is good stuff. I'm excited. All right. Yeah, Bayo, we were actually just talking about that. IA is 99 out of 103, which is insanely impressive. I'm actually looking to set up an interview with, I'm going to try specifically for 3 alliances that have 100% participation, and they're in the top 10. So, hasn't tournament's only been around 6-7 months. I don't think you've been in leadership for any alliance other than Horde in that time. So, Meme, I have, but again, I don't. So for you, I don't want y'all to know all the accounts I play on. I don't. Y'all know of 2 accounts that I play on every day. That's intentional. And it's not that like I want to hide anything, but I'll be honest. Y'all treat me differently when you know I'm in game. It's just the truth. I'm not trying to say that in a negative way. It doesn't even necessarily have to be negative. People treat me differently when they know it's Rev. Now, that can go both ways. There are trolls who know that I'm there and they will exist on that server just to try to troll. And then there are people who just, for lack of a better word, bug me to death about different things because they know I exist. Sometimes it's nice to play the game as just a regular player. I hope the heck you've informed your Admiral you are Rev. Nope. Shut up, Andal. So, it's nice to play Star Trek Fleet Command as a player. For example, I've talked for a long time about having accounts in the EU. Nobody, except for I think 2 people, Chrono knows, but nobody knows what server and alliance I'm in the EU. Nobody. Not a person. Except for like Chrono and a couple others. Right? That's intentional. So, I want to have a well-rounded experience. But yeah, you are right, meaning that it's still a small sample size because tournaments has not even been here a year yet. But it's still information I could learn. What you're saying is anybody in game could be Rev? Yes. That's what I'm telling you. You could be playing with Rev and not know it. Unlikely, but possible. Unlikely, but possible. Rev might be a slacker in my alliance. It's honestly quite true. So, put some data in Discord for you. Nice. Did you message me or is it in the... Oh, you did message me. Cool. Oh, thank you so much. That is super helpful. That is super helpful. All the 100% alliances. That is crazy. So, we're actually going to give them a shout out. You got one that is not 100% FYI. You got who on there? That's not 100%. Oh, wait. Did you just include those that are close to 100%? For the first one, there's 5 alliances, right? 5 alliances that are 100%, correct? I'm going to show this to everybody else. It's going to be real small. That's what she said. All right, so let's do... Here you go. Here are all the alliances in the league. There's 6 of them that are 100% participation. There are 3 of them that have 100 more members. I'm still going to shout out to GOH, NA, and CGS because you technically qualify. Now, I do want to point out something. 44 members. 44. Look at their bracket and position. They're in Masters League as a 44-person group. And they're in 7th spot, which means they're not getting relegated. I'd have to double check their bracket, but they're not getting relegated. And we were just talking about low member alliances having struggles. Well, come get some. They're in Masters League. Shout out to them. Excel's off the screen. Yeah, a piece of it. Here you go. Boop. There you go. Saying small alliance, 100% participation, going crazy. Shout out to them. Yeah, Spectre, Cerberus, and Death and Taxes. I'm going to reach out to all 3 of these. Yeah, Nightmare Alley that's a split off from Epic, by the way. They're working their way downtown. Walking fast. Yeah, so server, I actually need to write this down, what servers they're on, so I can look them up easier later. IRS is on 125. Spectre is over on 29. Serb is 49. All right, cool. Thank you very much, Chrono, for your always amazing assistance. You are wonderful. You're awesome. All right. Check our time. How long have we been streaming? All right, cool. We still got some time. Good. We're good. We still got a few minutes. Comments, questions, bring them on. CGS is a full spinner alliance on my server. Their lowest players in OS 49. That's their lowest level player. That's not full spender because there's free to play in G6. So that's not winning me over. But it's still nice. I mean, regardless, that's still participation. That is still participation. Fantastic. Movie night? I mean, Erwin, I'm down. I haven't had many people asking for it. Not that I'm saying that that's a reason not to do it. I just haven't had people asking. But remember, on our website, revduce.com, you can sign up to be a member, and there's perks. You get discounts on merch on revduce.com. You can play video games with me, like we've been playing Rust lately. Really don't want to watch Glory, but sure. We also have movie night. Those are all things. If you sign up, revduce.com. Went top 60 today, got your Rotar to tier 9. Nice, Donald. That is awesome. Congratulations. That's awesome. A big congrats to you. All right, let's see. I gotta pull up. My YouTube not working. Hold on. Chat froze. Give me just a second. Give me a second. I gotta fix this thing. There we go. Now we're back. My tab froze and broke. I don't know why. By the way, if you're here already and haven't, hit that like button. There's John Bondi with The Room. That man loves The Room. Hit the like button if you haven't already. Helps out the channel. What other comments, questions do y'all have about Lions tournaments? What are things that y'all would like me specifically to bring up with the Overlords? Bring it in now. We got a few minutes. We're going to be live, about 20 more minutes. So thoughts, comments, questions, etc. Hit them with it. We need it. Needs it. The Astral Prime worth getting. All right, so what we're going to do to answer that question real quick, we're going to go to our Prime spreadsheet so we can look together about all the Primes that you can get. And that is Delta Spike. But this is the spreadsheet that we just used in the video recently. And I want it on the screen. So here you go. Here are all the Primes you can get via Alliance tournaments. Astral Prime is the shield health boost for level 2 and the Delta Spike. Delta Spike is nice. You do still get the benefits of it even if you've maxed out your Voyager. It's not one of the most importance, but I do think it is worth getting at some point, depending on where you've gone so far. So why not a way to spend 10,000 reals for a specific task? That was already brought up, Burnt Pork. You're late. That was actually Razor Dave's question and comment and suggestion. But yeah, Delta Spike is solid. I wouldn't say that it's a top 10 item in the store, but it is something that I would work on getting eventually. If you're like me and you do a lot of 10K tasks, thus have currency, absolutely worth spending on. So, why they limit the purchase in AT? Simple. Incentive for activity continually. They want you to set goals and have to keep working at things. I didn't tell you to agree or disagree. Just the why. That's just the why. All right, let me check. All right, 3 hours is when I can do my pulls. I need these pulls to go to do that. Free to play task. What tier do you take the whip to? Tier 4 or tier 8? So hold on. I can find that. That is in the Forbidden Tech one. It's in the Forbidden Tech sheet. Yep, there it is. So here's the Ferengi Whip information. Q-snap. Whee! All right, so you take it to tier 4 or tier 8. Do not take it tier 9 or above. Why? Main question. Because as you tiered up higher and higher, the rolls become more likely for rare and epic fragments, not bells and protomatter. Now, I'm not saying that rare and epic fragments don't have value. In fact, if you are free to play at getting the whip, they definitely have value. That said, you see past tier 8, you only have 2 options for tier 9 and above for protomatter and 2 options for bells. Meaning RNG, you're going to roll your D20. And I just rolled a 15. That actually probably been pretty good, but very unlikely compared to, say, 10 options for these. So you keep it a lower tier, meaning you're more likely to pull protomatter and bells, or at least equally as likely. As you tiered up more and more, it focuses and shifts more to fragments. So all those things are valuable, but there's a limited number of rare and epic FTs currently that you can get in the Alliance tournament. I'm sorry, in the refinery for Forbidden Tech. I am pushing for them to add more, to be clear, but a lot of people want the bells, especially if you're out there trying to do the grind protomatter free-to-play 10K task. You want the bells. So as you just saw Delurch, they pulled the big 3,280. That is at least, depending on their level and huge trial building, etc., that's 2 full, at minimum, regardless of level, honestly, that's 2 full 10K tasks. So there you go. I don't see bells or protomatter on my whip pull. Is something else required to see them? I only see common, rare, and epic fragments. Yes, Nomad. So you have to unlock the commons and uncommons, and once you've unlocked those, then it spawns this. So you've got to go unlock the commons and uncommons first, Nomad, and then once those have been done, it populates the bells and the protomatter. So get those done, and then you'll be like, oh, cool, there they are. Bam. Bam, bam, bam. You see that fragment exchange right here. So we got all this in the spreadsheet for Forbidden and Chaos Tech and Trials. This is in my Discord, in the charts channel. If you need help finding it, definitely reach out to one of us. So let's go StarTrekFleetCommand.com so I can answer one of these other questions. Pull up the news. Okay, scroll. All right, so Sugar Fatman says, are the Vindicator blueprints a permanent addition to Alliance tournaments, or are they only available during the Grandmaster? Great question. Answer, the Daily Double. Not Daily Double. Q-Snap, permanent additions to the store. Jayla, Mirror Universe Picard, Mirror Universe Kira, Terra Refit, Section 31 Discovery Refit, Vindicator blueprints, and Prime Valors. These are all permanent additions to the Alliance tournament store. What is not permanent is the Ferengi Whip and the Kashar having unlimited pulls. So those 2 are Grandmaster specific. These are all permanent additions to your Alliance tournament store, which to me is a big thumbs up. So it's 13 primes permanently added, a ship that is a pain in the butt to get permanently added, 2 refits, debatable how needed they are, but there you go, and 3 officers permanently added. That's the big one. Seems like universal that none of the content creators won't admit the Alliance tournaments are actually still broken and things are still not working. They are working. There are people that experience problems, but generally speaking, there's not a mass break. There's not. But there are still problems that affect individual people, and those are real. Does refix look cool? There's nothing wrong with choosing cosmetic reasons for obtaining something in the game. For example, people still say, oh, I got to refresh. Mostly, you just need to wait 30 seconds for it to repopulate. Some people have to reboot. That does happen, but you just wait 30, 40 seconds, it'll repopulate on its own. So there's just a time there, and a lot of people just don't want to wait the time, which is also fair. But like that was one of the biggest things, and that has been fixed. There's just a long time on how long you have to wait to make that happen, as you can see. Is the Grandmaster version a one-off, or will they be running it again at other times? It's not guaranteed, but potentially yes. Depends on how well this ran, to be honest, which really comes down to how many people did these events. Wrong thing, right here. These events. How many people did all this? This is really what Grandmasters came down to. How popular was this? And everybody's favorite thing, did it drive spending? That's the question. That's the question. Did it drive spending? If it did, they'll probably run it again. If it didn't, then it was something they tried out and they move along. So I don't know. I don't know. It's not guaranteed that it's going to happen. It was an experiment of sorts. And you go from there. Can you push for a change to rating? Yes. Yes. Yes, I can. And I have been. And I will continue. Yes. Absolutely. Yes. You have to read the rest of yours. It's impossible to rate Sigma resources because the last 1 trillion resources takes forever. Makes G6 normal and give G6 chips ability to pull a few Sigma resources with each hit. That has been requested for a long time, and I certainly think it's a valid request. But I think rating overall needs an overhaul mechanic. It definitely needs an overhaul. It'd be nice to get more than 1 day's notice. 100% agree. Honestly, that's worth bringing up again. Because the past 2 ATs have had such short notice. Let me bring that up. Let me bring that up. That's a good point. Wish they had the assimilated ships in the Voyager Borg systems as refits. Yep, I agree. I've been pushing for, if you remember Sugar Fat Man, that's something I've been pushing for, like for paying reasons for a while. Like, hell, sell it to me for $20, I'd buy it. I'm not just trying to give them money. Why those aren't available in some way is flabbergasting to me. I don't understand. Well, it's not available. Now, Bacon, real quick, if you got an issue besides what I just listed, like I said, most of those things have been fixed. But if you're experiencing something, let me know. Like something specific. But AT has been quite stable, and we've not been getting a ton of tickets. I know I'm not been getting any tickets of people having major problems with AT like it was when it rolled out. All right. You like lots of notice, but I can see how surprise tourney drives competition. I think there's a balance. Like, you don't need to tell me a month ahead of time, but 24 hours is insufficient. That's kind of my counter to that. I do agree that, a little bit of surprise means less hoarding for a lot of people, but it's still good to, like, for example, let's take a look at their recent announcements. We know, thanks to their recent announcement, what the schedule is for the upcoming week. Well, what does that tell us? So we know that Incursions is coming. Well, that's something you can prep for. We know that the War Room is coming. That's something to do. And we know Mega Cube is coming. We got a week's announcement of that. Give me 3 to 6 days, 3 to 7 days to know something's happening. Give me that. Give me 3 to 7 days. Just not 24 hours, right? I don't need to know 2-3 weeks ahead of time because, again, I get the argument. Remember, I've said it before. Scopely hates campers. Well, they don't hate campers. They hate camping. They hate hoarding. They don't want it. So they know that if they told you a month ahead of time or even 2 weeks ahead of time, you're going to save everything. So I get it, but there should be a balance because 24 hours is not reasonable, in my opinion, for multiple reasons. Maybe people love Alliance tournaments, but, believe it or not, there are people who reschedule their jobs, family events, etc. around things. I know personally dozens of people who intentionally reschedule their monthly events around Incursions, like work. If Incursions is on Friday, they're in a position at their job where they can either take off or they make sure they have a light day because they want to do Incursions. These people exist. Now, it might be flabbergasting to you. I get it. However, those people exist. So, grab opportunities for everybody. Still have it out refreshing for minutes at a time, even leaving it sitting on the task screen. Bacon, I'd put in a ticket. Because generally speaking, in terms of the populace of the game, that problem has been fixed. I'm not saying that it doesn't still happen to people, because it absolutely does. But that is something they did roll out a fix on. Says Scope is a trash game company. I've worked with worse, and I've worked with significantly better. They are what we have, so I don't really see the point in griping at them as a game company. I'll tell you this, though, as much as I dislike their practices, if they were a publicly traded company, Rev would have put his 37 life-saving dollars into them. I would have invested in that stock 6 years ago. So yeah, are they greedy and stuff? Sure. Would Rev have invested every little life-saving dollar? Not all of them. I'm not a crypto bro wasting my life savings on, possibilities. But yeah, absolutely would have invested. 100%. You'll take a day off from STFC during incursions, opposite team. Hey, there you go. Right? It works both ways, right? Like, I know people who will take time out to do PvP arenas. Then there are other people who you can't convince them to do it. All things are fine. Voyager summoning in the missile loot system is broken for me and has been for weeks. I've opened tickets, got no response. Is it broken for anyone else? That is likely restricted to your server. For example, we have a broken system on server 20, but that is not universal to all servers. So what you have to do to really press Scopely to fix that, honestly, what I've experienced is you need to get a lot of people from your server complaining about it. Because if you come to the stream, odds are nobody else is going to experience the problem. And there's two things that can happen from that. Maybe you go, well, maybe it's just me, and you don't report anything. Or two, you don't realize that a lot of broken systems are specific to server 20. So you're on 20 with us. Yeah, our system is broken, right? So you need a lot of 20 people to speak up and bug them to fix it. Because it's not broken on 26 or 32 or 49. It works there. So it's specifically on server 20. Now, there are other servers where it can happen at the same time. It's not the first time that's happened. But it is currently broken on 20, and bug them about it. Get as many people from 20 to bug them about it. And that's the road to getting fixed. I'll tell you, though, it takes a while. Valley Bomb, good to see you. Welcome in. Welcome in. Scopely wasn't the gaming company we wanted. It's the gaming company we deserve. Well, there is some truth to that statement, considering they are where they are because of what we spend. And I say we because I've spent. I mean, I've not spent since December, but I spent $100 in December. That's a lot of money, y'all. I mean, that's more than, I spent to buy the game Rust. $100. So, yeah. You're actually going for this time around. Incursions, I'm assuming you're talking about Chrono, because you're going against Moose and Mini. Very nice. What'd you get? Was it worth it? I got 2,400 Dolomite, and yes, it was worth it. Yes. Chatterfang, good to see you. Good to see you. Rev be Rusty. I keep telling y'all, if y'all want to play Rust with me, I've got a server that is PvE and PvP, right? Which I think a lot of y'all would like. If y'all want to come play with me, it has a Discord and everything. Y'all come hang out with Rev. I think it's great. I really enjoy it. We've had Iron Fisters played with me. Moopsy logged in for a little bit. Behringer from server 20 came in and logged in for a little bit. If y'all want to play, come on in. Come on in. Move to a lower level system and shield for 3 days, as everyone loves to visit you during incursions. They do love to visit me, but I always play. Like, I always play. Like, I'm always active, but look where I'm at. See me? To the system. Way ahead of you, Bayo. I don't know if you thought my name was Jedi Bing, but Rev doesn't get rated in incursions, and never once has Rev gotten rated in incursions. Just in case you forgot my name. Shout out Jedi. Jedi's one of our higher level players who has gone AFK multiple incursions. Let's put it that way. Put it that way. Gotten much better lately. As of late. Yeah, much better as of late. Now, I say that, watch some like emergency real life thing happen and Rev give away. And I'll be honest, I don't want to get rated because I know I need all the tritanium I have for what's ahead. Russ is 40% off on Steam for the next 46 hours. Yeah, there you go. All right, look, I'm not getting paid to promote the game. I'm just simply going to tell you that me and my wife play it, and we both really enjoy it. It's a survival type game, procedurally seeded maps, and the server we play on has AI players, so you can raid the bases, fight them, etc. We have a lot of fun. It might not be for everybody, but it is discounted right now if y'all want to pick it up. Again, I'm not telling you have to. I'm not telling you to spend your money, but if you want to play with Rev, open invitation to play something besides Star Trek Fleet Command with me. Come play Rust on the server. Now, I'm not saying we're all going to be on the same team, but you can build next to me and we can go fight things. That's cool. I've got a little house for me and my wife, and understandably, it's kind of personal. Need to raid Triton still, but losing would be a huge issue. So I'll definitely participate in raids on incursions, but I'm not going to fall asleep with my pants down. Is what I'm saying. Twitch Rust, My wife suggested I stream Rust on Twitch. So maybe next Saturday or something. Maybe we will. Maybe we will. House must be the one with the pirate flag above it. Believe it or not, Patrick, I actually do have pirate equipment. If y'all want to see it, tell you what, I'll boot it up on Discord here after the stream because I have to check on my chickens. Yes, I have chickens. Yes, I have to check on my crops. Yes, I have crops. And if y'all haven't already followed the Discord and Twitch, there are the links in the chat. All right, so I'm going to wrap it up. I'm going to put together this list of things that we've talked about for Alliance tournaments. I think y'all have given great feedback points. Those of you who have disagreed and agree with me, I appreciate it because, well, that's awesome. Even if you disagree with me, like, for example, James was out there. He disagrees. I think those points are still valid. I might disagree, but it's worth having conversations. And I greatly appreciate y'all who participate in these things with me so I can have a better understanding of players. Thank y'all very much. Live long and plunder. Stay safe with their Space Cowboys. Deuces, that's me. Catch you on tomorrow's content. Thank you so much. I greatly appreciate every single one of you. Even if we disagree, remember, I know the world says if you don't agree with somebody, you got to hate them and ostracize them. I'll always love you. I'll always appreciate you. Even if we get feisty, know that I care about you. Hit me up on Discord if you need anything. See you on the next one.
An even better outro than the intro. For the Empire and glory to your house.